The Toronto Real Estate Board is reporting that the average sale price year over year is down almost 18%. Now, this is a video I've anticipated making for truthfully probably like 6 months because the peak of the market was a year ago. February 2022 was the peak of pretty much almost every market all across Canada. Because what happened after that? Well, we saw 8 rate hikes in a row and we saw demand fall off a cliff. Sales numbers from the peak were down about 50%. I've had this date almost circled on a calendar. I was waiting to see these stats. What is it going to look like year over year? Is it as bad as we all thought? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tom Storey. I run a real estate team here in the city of Toronto. I make educational real estate videos about what is going on in the market. If you find value in this video, all I ask is you give it a like. It helps other awesome people also see this video just like you. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and join our community. We are on the road to 10,000. You can also go into the first link in the description and book a call with me at a time that works for you. All right, so this is going to be a number breakdown video. We're going to go over the February 2023 real estate numbers for the city of Toronto and the greater Toronto area. We're going to compare it year over year. We're going to compare it month over month. And then we're going to run the numbers to see if it is actually more affordable, even with prices down 18%. Let's start by looking at the year over year data. Okay, so what we are looking at here is the Toronto Real Estate Board 2023 February to 2022. There's a few numbers that might jump off the page. Sales volume was down 47% from the peak. New listings was down 40%. That's actually kind of interesting. That's showing why prices have actually probably held a little bit better in the last 6 months because the inventory hasn't really come to the market. Active listings is up though because the absorption of the inventory isn't what it used to be. And this is the big one. The average price down almost 18%. So market peaked at 1.334. And today it is just under 1.1 million in the GTA. These numbers are kind of funny as well to look at. You know, your average days on market is up over 144%. Now, if you've been following the real estate market or following this channel, none of those numbers are really going to surprise you because that was the market peak. It was only there for 1 month. That wasn't the tail of the market always. That was just a period of time and truthfully a bit of craziness before the rates started going up. Now let's look at every single asset class in the GTA and in Toronto and show you what they've done, what they actually cost today, and how much they're down from a year ago also. Okay, so what we are looking at here is the different asset classes. So let's start with February 2023. Let's start with detached properties. 416 area code, you're still over 1.7. 905, just over 1.35, with an average combining them both for the GTA around $1.5 million. Now, if we go down here, that puts us down 20% year over year and about 17% for 416 and 21% for 905. One thing you will notice that the 905 numbers are down a lot more than you're seeing with the city of Toronto. That's because they also went up a lot more in the craziness than the city of Toronto did as well. Right now, semi-detached properties in the city of Toronto are sitting just under 1.3 million. That is probably the hottest asset class right now. That's what everybody wants. The most amount of sales are happening in that million to 1.25 range right now. That first kind of entry level into the freehold market in Toronto is very, very hot. There's not a ton of inventory. Townhouses, you're just over $1 million. And condos kind of surprised me. Condos came in February at 728,000 in the 416, 662 in the 905, averaging out at $700,000. Now, if we look down here, condos were down 11%, townhouses down 11%, detached was down 17%, and semis were down 14%. So big drops year over year. But if you look at the actual sale prices with the data that we have, you know, it's not like housing has magically become affordable. It's still very, very expensive, but it is obviously down from the peak of the market, which is showing that the rate hikes have at least kind of done their job. So if we know that prices are down 18% year over year from February to February, I think some people actually thought that number would be closer to like 30, 35, 40%. It's not. We kept under 20. So definitely a correction. You could make the argument for a crash all day long. I would totally understand that. With the 8 rate hikes, kind of surprising they didn't go down actually a little bit more. If you've been watching these videos or potentially sitting on the sideline waiting to get into the housing market, I think the main thing for you to think of is, has this actually become more affordable for you? So let's run those numbers together right now. This is just a little chart I put together showing 2022 versus 2023. And I did a 20% drop here, even though the market's saying it's about a 18% drop. So let's say $1 million in February 22, 800,000 right now, 20% drop. Your interest rate was obviously a lot lower. Now, that's if you took the fixed. If you took the variable last year in February 2022, those are the people that are feeling the hurt right now. Let's be clear about that. But today's rate, let's put about 5%. Now, your down payment is $200,000 on $1 million because it has to be. If you're going to continue to put 20% down, it is $160,000 on $800,000. Now, you don't have to put $160,000 down. It could be significantly less than that. It's 5% on the first $500,000 and 10% on everything from $500,000 to $800,000. So it'll be a lot less if you want to, but it's just going to be reflected in your mortgage rate being higher on your actual monthly payments. Your land transfer tax, if you're not a first-time home buyer, is going to be less. But right now, it is actually more expensive with a 20% market drop at today's rates than it was buying with a fixed rate in February 2022. Obviously, it makes sense to buy at a lower price with the hope that in the future, you're going to take advantage of these rates actually going down and kind of catching on the back end. But your payment is going to be higher than it was last year, even with prices down 20%. So the year over year numbers were always going to look bad. We knew that going into this. This is not a shock to anyone that's kind of been following along what's going to happen. Now let's look at the month over month numbers. Let's look at January to February. I understand there's a big discussion right now on what's going on in the market. I covered this in my last video. Is it just a bull trap? Maybe. Is the market picking up? Maybe. Is this just seasonal? Maybe. But what I will tell you is that February was one of the most active months that I've had in my real estate business in probably 6 months. And the sale price is much higher than it was in December and January. So we've had a month where we've actually seen an uptick in activity. And that's based on conversations I'm having with people all the time, and it is showing in the data. So what we're looking at here is month over month numbers. On the left column here, we're looking at only January 2023 with about 3,000 transactions, your median price 907, your average price, $1,050,000. Then we jump over here to February, just 1 month later. That median price has gone up about $40,000. The average price has gone up over $1.1 million. Properties are selling over their asking price where they did not do that in January. And your days on market is 7 days down. So we have substantial data here that is saying that, yeah, the market did pick up from January. It absolutely did. And some people like to say, well, you can't use these numbers because not enough sales happen. Well, actually, 4,500 sales happened in February and only 31 happened in January, right? So we actually have more data than we previously had in a long, long time. And we've seen the numbers now jump up month over month, which is not something that I've said in a while. The last thing I want to discuss is kind of just the general consensus of what is actually going on here and how can we think about this? Because I've been making videos and telling you that, yeah, like we're busy. Like my phone's ringing. I'm listing a lot of properties. We're helping a lot of buyers right now. But a lot of people that just look at the data are saying, well, the data doesn't suggest that, Tom, right? Like you're saying one thing, you're saying it's picking up, but the numbers are still not that great. And you're right. They're not that great, but they are better month over month, right? But the year over year, as we saw, they're not very good at all. And then Liam, who I follow on Instagram, who's a broker out of Ottawa, posted this. And I wanted to share this with you and kind of get your thoughts on this. Maybe you can comment below on what you think about this. He said, there's a buzz amongst strong realtors I'm speaking with. They're all saying the same thing. They notice that the market's heating up. There's more deal flow, meaning more transactions that you're doing, and there's more demand on their time. But the data tells a different story. This is because people turn to strong agents during market dips. And I think he might have hit it on the head here. I think this is the disconnect, is that there is a very small percentage of real estate agents actually participating in the business. And we do a lot of business. We work with people all the time. So maybe for me making these videos, I'm giving you my perspective because my business is picking up. And I think it's because when you look at right now, not every property is selling. People actually need good advice. You can't just use your weekend warrior realtor or your cousin that just got their license. You need someone that actually knows what they're doing. So perhaps what's happening right now is the strong agents are seeing the business pick up, but the people that are selling a few homes a year that kind of just got in because prices were going up are going to have a lot of trouble in today's market. And you've seen that from a few companies like Fair Square just shut down their operations. They used to be known as Purple Bricks. They were a low service, low fee company that would let you put your property on MLS just for a flat fee, but wouldn't really give you any services. And it seems that what is happening is that when market downturns happen, the consumer looks for people with actual experience. So perhaps that's what's going on here. But I hope you found something valuable in this video when you were watching it. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. My name is Tom Storey, and remember, home is where your story begins.